Most people we talk to feel stuck. They'll tell us things like, I feel behind. I wish I had more time with my family, or work is draining me. Does that sound familiar? The truth is, it's not that you don't want freedom. You just don't have a clear system to get you there. And without a system, what happens is 3 years from now, you're very likely to be in the same place that you are today. Your kids are going to be older and they won't care that your business was more successful. They'll just remember that you weren't there.
That's why we built the Passive Income Operating System. It's the exact framework we use to design financial freedom for ourselves and for our clients, not decades from now, but today. Now, the system isn't free, but the training that shows you how it works is, and it's less than an hour. So go to infinitewealthconsultants.com/PIOS, PIOS, and take the first step to buying back your time, creating passive income, and designing the life you don't have to retire from.
This is the mindset shift is you need to stop asking how much do I need to retire and start asking how much monthly cash flow do I really want and how do I fund it now today? If you're an investor or wannabe and you're ready to build passive income that exceeds your monthly expenses, you found the right podcast. Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast, where we combine the wealth building principles of Rich Dad Poor Dad with the power of the infinite banking concept to help you take control of your money and your future.
Join us as we bring insights from experts and from Cameron, as well as real-world strategies and proven tools to help you create financial freedom without relying on Wall Street. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast. I'm Cameron Christiansen, along with our co-host Anthony Faso, and today we're unpacking a really powerful idea. Most people are taught to accumulate money, but what if the real key to freedom is to activate your money instead?
Cameron, exactly. We're going to show you how infinite banking allows you to stop stockpiling money in accounts you can't touch, which we call money traps, and instead use your own money to create some cash flow. Cameron, I got a question for you.
All right.
Why do you think the traditional advice is always save for retirement, but never create passive income now?
Faso, it is all about conditioning. I was raised, and I think that most people were raised to believe that freedom really only comes at a later age, typically 65, right? That's when everybody's pursuing freedom, when we can retire. The system is built around deferring joy, deferring control, and trusting financial institutions like Wall Street to take care of us. But most people want time freedom today, not decades from now. Faso, you work with a lot of clients. What's one of the biggest frustrations they share about trying to build passive income the traditional way?
Typically more with the traditional way, it's let's put money in some account that we can't really touch, and then hopefully it'll be there when we need it most in retirement. The problem is you can't create that passive income to pay for your monthly expenses because their money is stuck and it is and it's locked up. So they get frustrated. I've been a good saver. I've saved some money, but the problem is I don't have any assets or liquidity to take advantage of these assets. And to me, Cameron, as you're hearing in the news, more and more companies are laying people off. And the problem is that they only have one source of income, right? And they lose that or get laid off. They have no sources of income. I think what's going on now, it makes it even more important that we need to start creating some multiple streams of income. Now, Cam, what what do they usually discover once your clients start seeing how IBC can work now, not waiting 30 years from now?
Mhm. I think one of the biggest realizations that people come to is they realize that they were never lacking opportunity, right? So people always think, what would I do? Where would I put it? But when they actually have control or access to their capital, they realize that, man, that wasn't the issue. The issue was I was lacking access to the money that I already had. So once they start using IBC, they finally feel like they're in control and they can start buying assets that pay them not just assets that look good on a balance sheet.
Well said, Cam.
You've been told to accumulate, defer, and wait, but that's not the only path. If you're frustrated, it's not your fault. The system was never designed to make you the priority. Fast, so let's break this down for him. What does it actually look like to be an accumulator versus an activator?
Accumulator plays defense. They save money, or they think they're saving more. They're investing money that they can't touch and hope for good returns,
Yeah.
right? They're focused on building a net worth. An activator, they're going to play offense. They're going to use their money to create passive income and assets now. They are intentional and they're in control. Now, Cam, we've both seen people with large balances in their retirement accounts
Yeah.
with zero income. What do you think is more important, a big number on paper or actual monthly cash flow?
Oh, this is easy. Cash flow, 100%. You can't eat net worth. You need that monthly income that exceeds your monthly expenses, and that's what real freedom is. That's what we teach clients, and that's
Mhm.
what our listeners are really after. Because this is the mindset shift is you need to stop asking how much do I need to retire and start asking how much monthly cash flow do I really want and how do I fund it now today? Faso, let me ask you this is do you remember when you made that shift from saving to activating? What changed for you?
Well, I would tell you on my path, which I've shared a lot on the podcast, was whatever happened in '08, and then I realized what we're being fed by traditional financial planners and CPAs just is not leading you to the path that is going to lead for the life you want to live in retirement. And that's where I got open to infinite banking and reread Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I would say at the beginning with infinite banking, like a lot of people start with, they read the book. Nelson's using the policy to finance liabilities.
Mhm.
Totally works with that, right? But we're not really going to get ahead long term, or it's going to take a while to do that for using our policies to buy liabilities. What we found is when we combine infinite banking with the rich dad, poor dad principles and leveraging our cash value to pay, to create passive income, that's really a game changer. And for me, I would say that the biggest difference is when you receive that first check in the mail that you weren't exchanging your time for money for. And for me, I bought a turnkey rental property. I tell you, I've heard all the horror stories about rental properties, but then I've also heard some success stories. So I put my toe in the water, and then I will say, Cam, getting that money in each month. I mean, the first of the month is like is payday. It's great.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
Now, Cameron, let me ask you this. Now, let's get into strategy. How does IBC allow someone to activate their money while still keeping it growing?
Great question. I think this is one of the hurdles that when people first start hearing about infinite banking, they do need to overcome. But when you fund your policy, you're building cash value inside of that policy, and that's cash value that you control. You can borrow against it, you can use it to go buy income producing assets. And the beautiful part about this is that we're leveraging against that cash value. So your money is literally still in that policy, compounding in the policy as if you never took it out. That's, in my opinion, that's the missing piece in personal finance. And that's probably the single biggest mistake that people are making right now in personal finance. So we always enjoy going through that and educating clients on it.
Sure.
Faso, let me ask you this. Can you walk us through an example of how someone using IBC can create cash flow?
Yeah, I got a prime example of a client where I'm recently working with. One of his goals was to retire his wife. And so what we did is we went through his money traps and found and freed up some money. We put in a policy, then we turned around and he bought a short-term rental property. Now, the not only was that giving him 1,500 a month pass or income, So he's about a third or a quarter of the way to retiring his wife. But because of some of the tax deductions he's getting from the short-term rental, that he's going to pay less income tax this next year. So again, he's using the passive income operating system, which will capture any of that extra money. So then that money is going to come back into his hub, and he's going to use that as a down payment to buy a second short-term rental, and that one's going to be producing probably about 1,000 a month. So now he's almost halfway there. But this is the big difference here, Cameron, is that he had control of his money. And instead of having it locked away and hoping the money's going to be there, now he has access to it. He's putting it to work, creating cash flow and creating some tax deductions. And the real benefit isn't just the return, right? It's the control, right, Cameron?
Unfortunately, this pains me to say this, but I couldn't agree more with you, Vasa. Right? Is what this is probably the biggest benefits that I see. I've said it a million times is we don't have to ask permission. We're not worried about market timing or we have to deal with any sort of penalties. It is my system, right? It's your system. And once you've used it, you'll never want to do it any other way.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're feeling stuck between wanting passive income and not knowing where to start, this is the missing link. You need a system that gives you the capital that you need to start creating some passive income. And that's exactly what infinite banking does.
Nice. Fast. So what's the first step that someone can take to go from accumulator to activator?
I would say that the first step is reviewing their money traps. And that's one of the things that we do when we, as part of our passive income operating system. Uh, Also, because I would tell you what we found, the biggest obstacle people have isn't more their desire, it's that they don't have access to capital. But what people don't realize, they do have access to capital, but it's just in some temporary walls, and we can help free that up so they can in turn use that to create passive income. But Cam, I'd also say this does require a shift in mindset, just as we talked about between an activator and accumulator, right? It's a different mindset, and also this is probably something your friends and your coworkers aren't doing. So you are going to be an outlier. So you need to have the confidence to do what you feel is right for your family, and not follow the noise, right? Imagine having the pool of money you can use to buy income today without interrupting your savings. That's what IBC lets you do, and it's something you can start right now.
If you guys are out there and you've been thinking about this mind shift, right? We put some names on it of accumulator over to activator. But if you've been thinking about kind of taking that shift of taking over control of your finances, guys, I'm going to welcome you to reach out to us, right? And have a conversation with us. There's a lot of people that are out there that are taking those same steps and that have taken those same steps to go out there and achieve financial freedom, which in our opinion is creating that passive income greater than monthly expenses. So,
Mhm.
guys, we invite you to come build a system that supports cash flow today and security for tomorrow.
Well said, Cam. I don't think I have anything else to add to that. Well done.
Awesome. Guys, thanks for listening. Make sure that you guys subscribe, share, leave a review. And again, we'll put that link in the notes for you to reach out. Hope to hear from you. Take care.
You know what else I need to do, Cameron?
What's that?
I need to go make it a fantastic day. The opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests and do not constitute financial advice. Always consult a licensed professional for professional decisions. Thanks for listening to the Infinite Wealth Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future conversations on building wealth and creating passive income.
You can learn more about infinite banking and get additional resources at infinitewealthconsultants.com. Until next time, keep investing with intention, and remember, your financial freedom is within reach.